Look, I hope you watch this video if you care at all about anything, about America, about fucking police justice, about a million things. About black people, about white people, about fucking women, LGBT people. I hope you watch it. And if not, totally understand. I will see you next time. Bye-bye. For everyone that stuck around, I'm going to talk about the protest that I went to. This really, really big one on Wednesday, the 3rd of June, 2020. Now.
So first thing I'm going to tell you is that we have a legal number for if folks get arrested. I have some Sharpies here. Raise your hand if you have a Sharpie. All right, so take a Sharpie, pass it to your friend, and I'm going to give you the number, and you can go ahead and write this number on your arm, so if you get arrested, you can call this legal support line.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring.
So we done here. My voice is dead. We walked down to City Hall, said some stuff, met with Mayor Jenny Durkin, provided the demands, gave her a chance to respond, which wasn't great in my opinion. She didn't really say much. And now we're back, and that's it. There's no violence. I didn't see a single thing fucking broken. There might be thousands of people here. This is like way bigger than the one I went to before. Yeah. Overall, a lot of energy, a lot of young people, like a lot of really young people. Like, there's older people too, but holy shit. It's just a lot of young people. Some of my thoughts, just kind of walking away from it, are there's a lot of really bad arguments going around. One, the argument that it's like, one guy died, what do you, like, why are thousands of people in the street? Why are you destroying stuff? Is just totally illegitimate. People are out here because, you know, it was a catalyzing moment. Not that different from Ferguson. When the Ferguson shit happened, like, yeah, it was Officer Darren Wilson fucking murking a guy, but like, it was just a flashpoint, and it led to change. Like, there was the Ferguson report, which you should look up, because they did, basically the Department of Justice looked into Ferguson and found out, yeah, there's some really racist shit going on there. These people were pissed off for a really good reason. So that's one. Two is that the idea that if you say you support free speech, like if you get mad about people getting banned off Twitter for shit they say, or you think you should be able to like make edgy jokes and shit, but you think that like these protests like should just go away and people should just go home, like because there was some riots or some people that broke shit, like that is a fundamentally incongruent position. What you should be supporting is organized protests. The difference here was that we had leaders from Black Lives Matter. We had community organizers here. We had people from the indigenous peoples groups. Like this was organized and led. There were people that knew what they were doing, that this wasn't their first rodeo. And so you should support more of these communities. You should give money to them so that they can afford to put these on if you actually care about free speech. And if you don't, well, I don't know what to say. I saw people who were, when there were people out trying to do weird shit like jump on stuff or climb up things, like I saw organizers pull people down.
George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd!
You know, like they're trying to stop it. Like, you got thousands of people. SPD is 1,600 people, I think, or 800. I think it's 800. SPD is 800 people. if we're gonna say like sometimes there's bad apples that do bad shit, and like, but the police shouldn't be held accountable for that. Like, you know, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you're gonna do that, then you have to do the same thing for these protests. You have to give the same leniency. You can't throw the entire thing out if people go loot, if people go burn shit. Like, again, these are incongruent positions to support one and not the other. Very incongruent. So this is the area that was kind of like fucked up the night before, right? We got Nordstrom's. The shit's boarded up. I mean, there's fucking ACAB spray painted on some of it. It's actually mostly cleaned up. They cleaned up the broken glass. Like, they boarded it up. It's property damage. I mean, it sucks. But, I mean, these are not, again, this is Nordstrom. This is Old Navy. This is Toomey. This is The Rack. This is Sephora. These aren't mom and pop shops. You know, this place is probably going to be fine. Or if they're not fine, I mean, it's not going to be this. It's going to be the fucking corona why they're not fine. What's frustrating me is people looking at rioting and saying, you know, rioting is bad, right? So rioting is not a technique necessarily. Rioting is the result of inequality, of injustice. Like, our government should be a little scared of us. There's a fucking lot of us, man. And we instill the government, we instill the police with the ability to police us, they have a monopoly on violence, right? We don't just get to just fucking kill people if we think that they're bad. Like, if they're a murderer, like, we just get to go over our neighbor's house and fucking kill them if if we think they're a big piece of shit. Like, government's got the monopoly on that. They got a whole process they're supposed to go through to prevent them from just kind of taking advantage of that. So when they do, like, what is our recourse? I mean, the recourse is like, of course, like, yeah, we want to do it through the official means. But when it doesn't work, like, protests and people in the streets, like, that is a tool. To say right now that the riots have not done anything, have not solved any problems, you know, they haven't maybe solved any massive problems or like clear, obvious ones, but like, the guys now, the cop wasn't arrested at the time, you know, when the protest started. If I killed somebody, would they wait several days to put me in fucking jail? No, they would have done it immediately. It's an interesting world, right? If we just like did the 5 demands, right? If we did that, what that would look like. Like, I get that for people, it's hard to imagine a world where it's like the police doesn't exist or it's like massively scaled back. I get that we kind of been taught, like as like children, that the police are super important and we have to have them, or like everything goes to chaos. But what if it didn't? And maybe I would ask, what if every dollar we spent on the cops like was a less efficient dollar than education or healthcare or something else? Like, I just like think about it. Like, just consider it.
To defund the police by 50%, we have a budget shortfall of at least $300 million, if not more. The current budget of the Seattle Police is $410 million. More if you include other ways in which the Seattle Police get funding. Now, we don't want this to just be for the time of COVID-19. We would like to see a yearly effort to begin to defund the police, and with our second demand, invest in our communities, invest in alternatives to incarceration. Invest in alternative safety models. We know that we keep us safe. We know how we keep us safe.
Maybe it's every dollar past $100 million in your police department is just basically inefficient. Like, maybe that's the way it is. You know, maybe it's not the whole thing. Maybe it's just scaled way the fuck back. Just a consideration. Nobody makes a cop be a cop. Like, you don't have to be. Like, I get it's a job, and I get for a lot of these guys it pays pretty well, or it pays enough to pay the bills. You know, they make a lot in overtime, for example. It's a big thing about being a cop, making a lot of overtime money. If you're scared for your life, if you're scared that the job is like really hard, like, you don't have to do that job. Like, you can do a different job. Like, that's a thing that can happen. And so I would encourage anybody who's a cop, who is, you know, who shakes in their boots kind of every time they put on their badge, you know, maybe you should find a different job. Like, that's okay. There's no shame in that. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, we're in a really fucking weird time right now, man. This is a really fucking weird time. You know, in these types of moments, like, this is when real change is possible. This is when accelerated change is possible. Yeah, I mean, it's great to work through the normal way, right? It's great to, like, pass laws the normal way, you know, elect in good people and hold them accountable when they don't, you know, do what the populace needs to do or whatever. But, like, there's also institutions and structures that make that really fucking hard. Like gerrymandering, like lobbying, like police unions, right? So it's actually a really uphill battle to do it the normal way. And occasionally there are moments where you can create significant change and kind of leap past that. And I feel like we're at that moment. I feel like maybe, it doesn't always happen, but maybe. Ever since 2016, when I kind of became more activated, I started having more hard conversations, and they are really hard. They're really hard. And I see how I see why people are just fragmenting and sharding into these unique groups, you know, like how people who are more conservative are becoming more conservative, you know, and like how we create these filter bubbles. Like, I see how it happens, because I feel like every time I'm having conversations with people and I'm like providing arguments, and like it rarely are we going back and forth with arguments, where I feel like we're just not hearing each other. Sometimes you're not going to be able to agree with people. Sometimes your friends or family, like, shit's just going to get too heated. And I don't know what the right decision is. It feels like for a lot of people, the answer is we just kind of cut the people out of our lives that we disagree with, and when we have those arguments, when we get really mad and angry and spit and fucking yell at each other. And you can do that, you know, like there's definitely a time for that. Like, there are toxic people that are around us. Like, just because they're your family doesn't mean they're not fucking horrible for you and might hurt you. Like, it might be worse to have around than not. But maybe it's okay to also just say, hey, let's stay friends, but let's just not talk politics, or let's not politics for a while. You know, let's agree to, like, really, like, be very selective about how we do it, because then you keep those people in your life. Like, some people aren't gonna come to your conclusions by talking to them. Like, they're only gonna come to those conclusions themselves somehow, you know, maybe, like, and they may never come to those conclusions, but if they do, it's probably because through some form of self-discovery, like, something bad happens to them, they get sick, you know, or they have a personal, you know, they have a family problem, or, you know, they get fucked with by a cop, and then they're ready to listen, you know. And if we cut them out, it makes it that much harder to like re-engage that conversation when they're ready. That's what I'm trying. It's not easy. I empathize with anybody who's just on the cut, closer to the cut strategy, but that's what I'm going for. On this Antifa super soldier joke, we were led by Black Lives Matter organizers, right? Black Lives Matter is very decentralized. There are places across the nation, maybe across the world probably, but like, I was led by a local version of that, which is Nikita Oliver. That's who was there. That's who talked to the mayor. Antifa doesn't really have that. That person doesn't really exist. Like, if you can point me to the people who are leading and organizing Antifa, great, please do that so that I can understand. But what it feels to me like, people are being classified as Antifa for having like a gas mask, or having goggles, or bringing a shield, or umbrellas, or like other tools, for example, for defusing smoke cans, or crowd control suppressing equipment. Here's my argument for you, if that's what you believe, why would any peaceful protester ever bring that? If you watch me, you probably either own a gun, or you are probably okay with having a gun for like personal protection, right? Probably. Hopefully you do. And if not, you probably at least would say that you can have like some sort of weapon, for example, in your home for self-protection from somebody, maybe a dog, right? Something like that. You have that, not because you intend to use it all the time, or you're trying to like goat people into it, right? Like, you have the gun, like you never want to use the gun, right? Because it's a huge hassle. Like, you get fucking shooting at somebody, like, and someone coming in your home, like, those are terrifying things, right? But you have it in the worst case scenario. I don't see it as any different to bring a gas mask, to bring riot control, suppressant equipment, shields, black masks, like facial, like obfuscation tools, techniques. Like, I don't think it makes you Antifa to watch videos on how to clear your eyes of pepper spray. These are just things you hope to not use, but you're acknowledging that these are possibilities, right? You're bringing, for the same reason you put on motorcycle gear. Like, you don't want to crash your bike. I just talked about this in my more recent video. You don't want to crash, but you wear the gear because you want to be prepared. That classifying somebody as Antifa because they wear black, or they use, they walk around in groups of black people, or like have helmets on, construction equipment, they look like a fucking Hong Kong protester, right? Like, those people, the Hong Kong people, like, they wore all that shit because the police were fucking repressive as shit and terrible. Oh my God, my bike's still there. Holy shit, I had to park somewhere. That was sketchier. I'm going to show you where, because I'm never going to park here again, because I do not park in fucking lots like this. This is where I parked. This is not, watch my video on theft. This is not where you park your bike. So, all right, I'm done for real now. For real. Ride fast, take chances. I don't know what video I'm doing next. I think I was going to do one on how the King County changed their use of force policy. And, like, I have it, like, ingrained in law. Like, my law is now, like, fucking pointing a gun at someone is fucking force through King County. But maybe I'll pump that until after I do another motorcycle one, so that nobody... Look, I know a million people are going to unsubscribe from me, and that's totally fine. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Yeah, we'll do moto stuff. All right, ride fast, take chances, because I'm going to take advantage while the streets are still super clear, because fucking Rona's going away. We're all going back to work. Quit your job. Go in the streets.